Aloha and Tashi Delay from Kauai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center. Here on the I Am the Kauai. We present this class every Thursday night, 6 to 8 o'clock Hawaiian time. Our Dharma Center is Kagyu Tupten Choling. Kagyu is the main tradition of teachings that we follow, even though all lineages are represented. Tupten is the Buddha's name is Tu. Ten is the doctrine of the Buddha. Chur is the offering, laying in this place. And I'm Lama Tashi. Resume this class, and it's recorded on our website, kauaidharma.org. I was asked if I could read a short excerpt from the two books that I recommended last week. This is Lama Rinpoche's Story of All of Us. It doesn't look like very much, but it packs a powerful wallop in mind training. And the other one that I recommended was Guru Rinpoche's advice to the Lotus Born. And this one is, compared to Lama Rinpoche's book, this is wrathful, hard-hitting. I'll give you an example. Amisambhava said to Yeshe Sorgyo when practicing the Dharma of liberation, to be married and lead a family life is like being restrained in tight chains with no freedom to practice. You may wish to flee, but you have been caught in the dungeon of samsara with no escape. You might later regret it, but you have sunk into the mire of emotions with no getting out. If you have children, they may be lovely, but they are the stake that ties you to samsara. If you don't have children, the worry that your family dies out is even greater. If you have material things by raising cattle, farming, and so forth, there's no leisure time to practice the Dharma. If you don't, the pain of struggle of not having food is even greater. If you have servants and workers, you are utterly carried away by being a slave in management. And if you don't, you lack the power that makes you controlled by others. No freedom to practice the Dharma. In this way, both the present life and your future lives are destroyed. In any case, people who marry and become householders submerge themselves in a swamp of misery with no chance for liberation.
Ooh.
And here I am, a householder. So I had to read it. But this book is, that's just one excerpt. The whole book is like that. So he's got one on faith, which comes from practicing Dharma. But faith simply means you trust that this is going to transform your mind in a way that you will have uninterrupted happiness in this life and future life. And this is from Lama Rinpoche's training book, The Story of All of Us, Simply Said. And this is on page 17 because I know most of you have this book. The practice of watching the mind and the self-liberation of thoughts are the very essence, quintessence, or seed of learning to discover the nature of the mind. These two practices are very important and meaningful to develop. In our mind, in our usual way of daily living, we accept the way that our thinking operates. We think there's no other option. Because of this unquestioning acceptance of that way of thinking works constantly. We temporarily block our spiritual development. By questioning and looking more closely at our habitual tendencies and apply these practices, we'll begin to move on the spiritual path towards ultimate realization or ultimate truth. In the usual way that we use our mind, thoughts arise and we respond to it spontaneously. But in this way, our mind constantly creates actions somewhat in an out of control manner. So learning to liberate thoughts is definitely a profound spiritual development. This development increases spiritual awareness and purifies the habits and tendencies of the relative or drama mind at the same time. Never forget that it's the habits and tendencies of the mind that push us around in our daily life, more or less out of control. So this is saying in a different way what Vajrasattva said in his book. With these mind practices, we will also see our emotions as they arise. When we can recognize emotions arising, we can consider the effects of them on the tranquility of our mind. With that accomplishment of mindfulness, watching the mind, and self-liberating thoughts with practice, we will forever be able to do something about our emotional reactions, instead of involuntarily releasing them like a herd of wild horses running over us. And there's more. But this is towards the last few pages of the book. Tonight we're going to practice the 3 lights meditation and the 5 elements practice for healing the body. And we're also going to do the Vajrasattva practice of purifying what happens to the body with all of these emotions running through our brain and all the secretions ending up in our body, causing us illness, sickness, disease, and pain. So this Vajrasattva practice is one of the 4 foundation practices that lead us to the power, the insight, compassion, and realization of all the deity yogas, all the peaceful deities, and all the protectors. We'll say more about that when we get to that part of the class. Before we start the 3 lights prana yoga practice and do the 5 elements healing practice, we'll take refuge. Refuge is absolutely necessary, so we set the train of thought of the mind to move it towards the state of absolute truth. And that is the ultimate nature of our consciousness and is a state of complete maturity in the human condition. And it removes all the tendencies to take birth in any of the other realms, including heaven. 4 realms of the spirit and human and animal realms that take birth on planet. Well, this is very powerful. Proceed the reading of these 3 aspiration prayers practice of refuge before each formal session. The first is to set the altruistic motivation for our practice. We're doing practice. And it goes like this. In order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, our mothers, we now, all together, take refuge and offer prostrations. We go for refuge to all the glorious holy Lama. We go for refuge to all the idams or the deities gathered in our mandala practice. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered the mind and reached maturity. We go for refuge to all this supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble Sangha And we go for refuge to all the Dakas and Dakinis, or the protectors and defenders of Dharma. All of these 6 refuges contain the eye of transcending awareness. We use the term ultimate realization. Then we take the Bodhisattva prayer. To the Buddha, Dharma, and this Supreme Assembly we go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained from practicing the 6 Bodhisattva disciplines, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Then, because the Dharma is transmitted in Sanskrit to every culture, everywhere on the planet, and the spirits are familiar with this language from the time of the Buddha 2,600 years ago, we try to chant as much as possible the practices in Sanskrit, and especially this taking refuge. So the first one, the altruistic motivation to bring all beings to enlightenment, is based on everything that we are doing is for everyone else. And that goes like this. Dag dong drowa nam ke ta dong yam pe shem shem dam she du ni ne jun ti te chi si jeng chu ning po wa chi ki bar du Bao den lama dampa nam la chap su chi yo Yedam Shankar Gila So Namba Chapsu Chiyo Sanjay Chom Dende Namba Chapsu Chiyo Dampe Chur Namba Chapsu Chiyo Baupe Gendu Namba Chapsu Chiyo Pao Kandro Chokyun Chume Sho Yeshe Ki Shendang Dempa Nama Chapsu Chio. Then the Bodhisattva prayer of the 6 practices called Bodhicitta. Without Bodhicitta, you can never realize the true nature of your ultimate state of awareness. Through the Buddha, Dharma, and this Supreme Assembly, we go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained from practicing the 6 Bodhisattva disciplines, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. And that theme, that prayer, will take you on into the next life with the practice of those 6 disciplines without any hindrance. And in the next life, you will enter into what is called the natural state of your mind. They call mind of bliss, Dewa Chen. And in that state, you will have no emotional preoccupation with whatever appears in that life. No judgment. That's the benefit. Sanjay Chodam Shoki Chodam Ma Jenchu Bardu Dagni Chansu Dagi Jenso Jipe Sonami Joba Penjer Sanjay Jupar Sho. I'm going to refer to the Vajrasattva practice, which has been put in text form many years ago, maybe 30 years ago, by Lama Rinchen, Lama Tenzin, and other lamas. And in it, it has the prayers that we just did, but it has the Bodhisattva prayer. It goes like this. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until we reach enlightenment. By the merit of practicing generosity, morality, patience, diligence, meditation, and wisdom insight on both the ultimate and relative levels of practice, may I achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. And then it says, as a result, may all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all beings not have suffering or the cause of suffering. May all beings never be without the supreme bliss, which is free from all suffering. May all beings live in the great equanimity, which is free of the judgment of attachment, aversion, delusion, pride, jealousy, fear, anxiety, and depression. So this is what you purify when you do the Vajrasattva practice, so that you don't have any obstacles in those practices. And the most important practice is meditation. Without meditation, you cannot come to understand the truth of the outer world as being an illusion, and the truth of the inner world as being a process to reach absolute truth or realization of your true nature while you're in the human body. Because unless you do it in this life, in the human condition, it won't be possible in the bardo of becoming next life. Because the distractions in that bardo are infinitely more than in this one. So you can see the usefulness of the Dharma practice. When using the 5 elements, we prepare to receive the healing energy of one specific element: earth, water, fire, air, or space. And we use these elements one at a time because this kind of activity, this form of healing, is treating the outer appearance of disease, illness. And all healing on the planet is done that way. But this 5 elements practice is at the same time is the nature of everything in the universe and the nature of your body that your mother created you by. So when you're able to focus and imagine the element, you're bringing that energy program into your situation, into your physical situation, and the surrounding universe. But to prepare for that, with the ability to focus, we use the 3 lights prana yoga practice. And all the lamas teach them. And the importance of the 3 lights at this level of practice is connecting to what keeps you alive, breath. And without it, no human body. At the same time, the other 4 elements have to be in harmony, and they are, no matter which element you use in this practice, because you started with the 3 lights meditation. And that is actually a transmission of all the energy of the 5 elements into your body, speech, and mind with those 3 lights or codes. So sit with your back straight, hands in a comfortable position, either on the knees or in the lap. Head slightly tilted forward. If you can, mouth closed, tongue resting against the palate. And bring your focus to your breath. And if possible, have your eyes open. Because the energy of what is right in front of you is the five elements, is the air you breathe. Inhale and visualize the air coming into your lungs as white light. That's all of the elements right there. Then the middle breath or absorption breath is spontaneous, and all that energy is passed through every cell in your body, and you focus on that activity as red light flashing through your body, through every cell, either in a moment or longer. Then you combine those two codes of the red and white energy lights and exhale out your nose blue light to space, available to the world around you as an energy breath, a powerful energy, not just the code, but breath, equal to the sky. Inhale white light, fill your lung. The energy of that spread through your body is red light. Visualize. Those two together out the nose is blue light to space, like the sky. Now I just counted 21 breaths. If you feel more is appropriate to bring you into a state of peacefulness or tranquility, it's okay to do that. But I found 21 helps you to get settled. And it's also a good discipline to bring your imagination and your focus together. For all of the practices of Tibetan Buddhism demand that. Then once you've settled, bring the three lights code all together into a tiny particle. Visualize it in the center of your chest. in the central channel. And I advise you not to run this up and down into the other chakras, as it creates excessive energy distortion. Always fix it in the heart center and know that that one particle of light is connecting to the infinite light of space, because that's what light does. It's inseparable in its mode of operation. And in this mode, it is universal, which simply means boundless in the fabric of space. So this energy is the basis, we call it the basic energy of everything, even your thoughts. So for a few moments, just relax in this completely open, clear energy field of boundless light in space. All of the practices of Tibetan Buddhism and shamanism practice start and end in the heart chakra. It's a very simple symbol of unconditional love and concern for the well-being of everybody. From here, then move from that level of basic space with the tiny particle and imagine it to expand into a small sphere of clear light, no bigger than your thumbnail. Then imagine that small sphere to transform into one of the symbols of the five elements. They're all equal in application, but different in their remedies. So we're going to use the air element, which is visualized as a half sphere of green light, like a bowl with a lid, symbolizing or labeling air. And again, keep that small, about the size of your thumbnail, in the center of your heart chakra. Once you can see it clearly there, move it out in front and up before your eyes. The next step is to imagine it to grow large enough that you can comfortably see your physical body inside, sitting inside just as you are. Out beyond your reach, maybe even room side, tent side. Then imagine this half sphere of green light labeled air to increase in size to completely enclose this island of Kauai, which is about 40, 50 miles across. And we even include the surrounding ocean, or your town or city or a large area of where you're doing this practice. All of that enclosed. We do this to share the powerful energy of our psychic imaginary focusing mind with all the beings, animals, humans, and spirit in that area. Then visualize it to grow in size to completely enclose Mother Earth, including her air atmosphere. This form of generosity is to share the power of your ultimate nature with infinite beings in that realm of Mother Earth, all the way to the center of the planet and all the way to the sky. Then visualize it to increase in size to completely enclose the solar system and all the sun and all the planets inside. This encompasses billions of miles in diameter. Then expand it with your imagination to completely enclose our spiral disc-shaped galaxy 100,000 light years across in diameter inside. And by doing this, you're increasing your capacity for unconditional love towards uncountable sentient beings. Then relax by expanding this to merge with the totality of space, boundless space. This is beyond conception, so there's no meditation. And you simply relax in the present moment. By that I mean staying present, contemplating space. Giving your mind and everyone in that dimension of being the infinite potential of space. Some people experience falling in this stage of the meditation, falling, like falling out of the sky. But that's impossible because space doesn't have direction, up or down. Return from this dimension of the practice by again meditating on the half sphere of green light enclosing the galaxy. Shrink it to just enclose the solar system. Smaller and smaller just to enclose Mother Earth. Very much smaller to just enclosing your neighborhood, town, city, island, area where you are doing this practice. Then take all that energy into your situation by imagining this half sphere with you sitting inside. The green code of the air is associated with the plant, algae, and other forms of life supported by gas. Air is a form of gas. Oxygen. Then finish the practice by bringing the half sphere down to its original small size directly in front of your eyes. Drop it to chest level, bring it into your heart chakra. Shrink it to a tiny particle of light similar to an atom and blend out with the totality of space. Relax. No meditation. Simply keep to the present moment. Past and future, and even the present, do not exist in space. Contemplate that reality. To finish the practice, bring your awareness used in this meditation to in front of your eyes and spread it into your domain of practice. Dedicate the merit and virtue of this practice to all sentient beings, all of whom exist in your mind. Now, while we're on this subject of mind and space, in today's world with so many distractions, so many calamities occurring, so much pain and suffering, that in Bodhisattva training, the easiest way to deal with this is called Tong Lin. And the simplicity of this practice is the same simplicity of focusing and using your imagination with the reality of whatever outside of you is existing and the energy of that causing you problems. You can take that in as black light into your heart center, internalize, and disappear it. So whatever judgment call you have about this so-called energy problem harming you, inhale it as black light into your heart center. And from that place of unconditional love, exhale white light to completely light up or obliterate the problem. Unconditional love is exhaled with white light. The result is healing. By internalizing what is going on outside you, you get a handle on two things. One is its usefulness, and two, of its voidness, illusoriness. And then by transforming that into voidness, you exhale back light and everything's okay. You think that. You can even say physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to the beings around you, outside of you, everywhere. If you have a malady or affliction, which we all do, you can think that all of the people just on this planet that have that same harmful condition of sickness, disease, pain, suffering, drama, whatever, emotions, inhale that in as black light. It could be an individual person that you're a friend or lover with, or it could be an enemy. It could be one, a group, or the whole planet. Your choice. But the mind's nature is the same as the energy of space and light. Black light in, disappeared into your heart chakra. This is where true realization occurs. It disappears. Its nature is voidness. The color black indicates that. Then white light out, everything's okay. In your mind. And everything in this universe is created by your mind. So this taking and sending practice is a very powerful remedy recommended by all the Bodhisattva lamas of all the traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. As a remedy to your own so-called problems and all of the outer. By internalizing with imagination and focus, it works. That's the power of this practice. That is based on loving kindness is the compassion of the practice. And understanding the usefulness of voidness like space is the realization of this practice. Whenever you do this, always dedicate the virtue of it, of this very, very powerful bodhisattva, 8th level of bodhisattva training practice called Tonglen. To every mother sentient being. And because some of these practices do cause some energy disturbances within some of the practitioners, because everybody's different, my teacher, Lama Namkai Norbu, taught us how to calm it is the best way, level it. And he taught this practice of the 9 prana breaths. Yantra yoga. Yan is wind. Cha is power. Yoga is discipline. When you do this practice, you simply visualize with the movement of your hand light filling your body from the bottom up to your throat. And the second part is to visualize when you, with the hands movement, is all the light disappears downward and your body is empty. So we're going to do that with the hands, and I recommend these 2 fingers stick out. Women start with the left and men with the right because our side nadis or chakras are opposite. And when facing each other, they're matching, they're in union. Anyway, hands on the knees. Inhale, fill the body with light. Raise the hand, 2 fingers touch the right nostril. Bring the hand back down to your knee and visualize all the light draining out of your body, empty body. Then do the opposite hand, raise it up, touch 2 fingers to your nose, fill up with light. Exhale, hand comes back down, empty body. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, empty downward. Again. Now the last 3 prana breaths is simply leaning forward, not too far. You don't have to go all the way down like this. Lean forward and visualize all the light draining out. When you come up, you inhale, light filling up your body to your throat. Again, exhale, lean forward. Inhale, come back up. One more time. Exhale. Inhale. And sit in this position for about a minute or two after doing these 9 yantra breathing method. Calm, open, and full of light. And again, dedicate the results to all sentient beings, your mother. The appropriate positive results of practicing the Dharma for the benefit of everyone else. Now we move to the next level of the class, deity yoga. The deities are a basis or antidote of the 5 emotional afflictions. And all of the deities wear these 5 as jewels, 5 jewel crown on their head. If they don't have that 5 jewel crown, they're Hinayana. If they carry the 5 jewel crown, the peaceful deities are Mahayana and the protector deities are Vajrayana. So this symbol of Vajrasattva is with consort. Something else is on here. And this is to symbolize that all the human condition is based on male and female energy. And this energy resides in our body and in the universe around it. So when we use this practice, we take Chenrezig and Tara, the 2 basic Yidam practices of the peaceful deity, code them in white, which is the antidote to ignorance, and place them above your head, which is where your root lama sits on a lotus sun and moon seed. Then you recite the connection to all lamas and all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, the 100-syllable mantra. Connecting these 2 deities' heart chakras, filling them with light, and then from their place of union comes down into your Uma channel, the central channel, towards the back of the head, fills your body with light all the way down to your toes, even your hair. And as this takes place, all the negative energy you put there with your crappy emotional program starts to dissolve and escape out through the pores and orifices of your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and lower orifice. And all of this sludge-like negative energy sluices off of your physical body and down into the earth. It becomes nectar for the animals and spirits in the earth. That's it. But we have a text. And there's Vajrasattva and Vajrayogini, just like this picture. And there's the 5 code of the 5 dhyana Buddhas and the 5 elements connected. Then it has a full page describing this preliminary practice and how it sets up in energy centers in your body the arrival of these deities with 2 sounds, Hum and Bam. But before we do that, we have a book on bodhisattvas. And in this book is Vajrasattva Vajrayogini. And this is the energy field. No need to see it up close, but just know that all the lamas are there, all of the Buddhas, all of the wrathful deities, Vajrasattva and so forth, Vajrakilaya, and around this central deity are these light energy programs. So you're not only purifying your own body, you're setting up this mandala of light energy for the next life. So that when you go into the bardo of becoming next life, just like your tendencies, negative and positive, came with you this life, this goes with you. And this is the mandala of the spiritual rebirth described in this book. This book has many. And I'm going to read it. I only have one eye. Yeah. Vajrasattva, in union with Vajrayogini, symbolizes the purification of one's deluded perceptions and clears all obscurations of the enlightened mind. Vajrasattva holds in front of his heart a Vajra representing the mind of enlightened essence, the 5 Buddha families, and the 5 elements, and against his thigh a bell representing the union of wisdom and compassion. If he's in union with Vajrayogini, then these 2 are in his hands crossed behind her back. They float in a sphere of omniscient awareness, the ultimate nature of one's own mind. Vajrasattva represents the total purification of afflictive passions or emotions that lead us to unfavorable rebirths in future lives. Through Vajrasattva's 100-syllable mantra recitation and the mandala of Vajrasattva, obscurations of enlightened awareness can be completely eradicated in this life and for sure after death in the next life. One can attain the exalted realms pictured in the celestial gallery. Seated within golden pavilions in the 4 cardinal directions, as well as the outside mandala itself, figures of the Buddha reach to the end of space. All of this pervading illumination of all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas hover in boundless space as flower blossoms in a psychedelic void. Mandalas are present in Buddhist art as palaces of divine energy, and the deities that inhabit them as archetypal expressions of enlightened consciousness. These support the inner meditative process. Mandalas transform mundane appearances into the elements of celestial bliss realms. All sounds are heard as sacred syllables or mantra. All beings are perceived as enlightened male and female energies. And the sadhana of this practice is completed with mantra and visualization. When visualizing oneself as Vajrasattva and consort in union, nectar pours down through the crown of your heart from them, flows through all the emptiness, luminous body channels, cleansing it of all defilement. The mingled essences of the point of union radiate into all corners of the universe as five-colored rainbow light, and in this way liberate all beings into great bliss. At the end of the session, the light withdraws into one's heart chakra, into the code Hun and Vam, and the bodies dissolve into clear light. Then one rests in this state of radiant awareness beyond any form of meditation or conceptual thought. This state is described as Mahamudra, or the great perfection, or the land of bliss. The Buddha gave this teaching and said at that time, the ones whose mind is well trained in ways that lead to light, who surrenders the bodies of attachment and finds joy in the freedom from all grasping, those who are free from darkness of afflicted passions, will shine in a pure radiance of light in this very lifetime and enjoy the immortal, ultimately existing state of nirvana. This bliss of nirvana is not based on self-absorption, but a joy that dissolves all boundaries between self and others. All forms of dualistic fixation disappear. It is a bliss state in which one recognizes that one is an inseparable part of the jewel of the net of the universe of space, in which all beings are Buddhas equal to Vajrasattva and Vajrayogini. The diamond-like being, the tantric term for enlightenment, simply is one who embodies the premortal purity of this ultimate reality. This frees us from distracting passions of mundane existence and prepares us for the body of light in the next life. This is practiced as the motivation to bring all beings the benefit the same as Vajrasattva Vajrayogini. And here's another mandala of Vajrasattva and Vajrayogini on the back of this page. So now we'll start with the practice. I'm going to sound three syllables. Hum, which is the sound of the universe just as it is. Ah, which is the energy of the universe, just as it is. Ah, which is the energy of the universe in the mandalas of the Buddha mind, Bodhisattva mind. Then Om, Ah, and Hum. These three sounds bring the body, speech, and mind of the practitioner in union with the Lama and all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, because they all do this practice. Then with that, you visualize the Lama in front. Giving the empowerment of Vajrasattva Vajrayogini to you. And it starts with the Lama's three lights coming into you. White light from the Lama's head with the sound Om into your head. This is to be the permission to be the body of the deity. Then Ah is red light from the Lama's throat into your throat. This is permission to use the vibratory sound of the mantra and the seed syllables of creation, or any sound used in this practice with the mantra. Then blue light from the Lama's heart is the wisdom transmission of the energy of this to purify your heart chakra into a state of unconditional love and the aspiration to alleviate the pain and suffering of all sentient beings. Then the Lama, when you see the three lights of the Lama melts into you. That's the union of the body, speech, and mind into you, and you become Vajrasattva Vajrayogini, white in color, both wearing 5-jeweled crown. He is holding the bell and dorji behind her back. She is holding the knife and skull cup behind his head. He is peaceful and she is wrathful. In union, and because they are in union, sometimes her head is higher than his. That's okay. Sometimes equal. They're both wearing silks and jewels of the Bodhisattva training of the elements and the 6 perfections. They sit on a lotus sun and moon seat here. And she has a bell in her heart marked with the Vam, V-A-M, and he has a dorji in his heart marked with the Hum. The Vam and the Hum are the creation sounds of all of their mandala, including the one you're going to use for this practice, which simply is the 2 of them above your head, filling with light. And the Vam is in her heart, and the Hum, which is the same as the medicine Buddha or Akshavaya Buddha, in his heart. Then the mantra which we're going to recite connects these 2 in a spiral, clockwise with the letters facing outward. When you visualize this and sound this at the same time with the mantra, light fills up their bodies and comes down into, as I said before, through your opening of your Uma and fills your body downward. Head, throat, heart, navel, lower body. As your body fills with light, all negative energy placed there by your relative mind, emotional affliction, all these secretions out and down into the earth. And you think that this is happening not only for you, but infinite sentient beings throughout the universe. All the animals, all the humans, and all the spirits. Any part of this mandala that you can see, the deity, the seed syllables, the mantra moving, the energy in your body, it going down into any part of this is the drop. One tiny glimpse. No hurry in filling in and connecting all the dots. So now we start with the practice. Light goes out from the Vaman home to all the lamas, deities, protectors, comes back into the Vaman home, which transform into a bell and dorje, and those transform into the deity, Vajrasattva and Vajrayogini. Then you sound the mantra. Om Vajrayogini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manupalaya, Vajrasattva, Tenopa, Dikta Drito, Mebawa, Sutokayo, Mebawa, Manorakto, Mebawa. Excuse me. So you say the mantra and then have it flow down through you. The light of the deities coming from the mantra and the seed symbol, flowing through you, then out all negative energy, then all that down into the earth is nectar and offerings to the nagas and animals in the earth. Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopa Tikta Drito Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Sukokayo Mebawa Anurakto Mebawa Sarvar Siddhi Mentrayasa Sarvar Karma Sutta Me Sutta Shriya Guru Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarvar Tata Gata Vajramame Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva. Ah, so you end with the sound of energy and it goes everywhere. Then again. Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopa Tikta Drito Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anurakto Mebawa Sarvar Siddhi Mentrayasa Sarvar Karma Sutta Sutta Shriya Guru Bhagavan Sarvar Tata Gata Vajramame Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva. Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopa Tikta Drito Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Sukokayo Mebawa Anurakto Mebawa Sarvar Siddhi Mentrayasa Sarvar Karma Sutta Me Sutta Shriya Guru Bhagavan Sarvar Tata Gata Vajramame Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva. Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopa Tikta Drito Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Sukokayo Mebawa Anurakto Mebawa Sarvar Siddhi Mentrayasa Sarvar Karma Sutta Me Sutta Shriya Guru Vajramame Vajra Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva. Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Samaya Vajrayogini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Vajrasattva, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Nantayas, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Om Bhagavan, Sarva Tathaka, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Tika Jito, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Sarva Tathagata, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Dinapa, Tika Jito, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Mantrayasa, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Om, Ha, Ha, Om, Bhagavan, Sarva Tathagata, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Dinapa, Tika Jito, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Mantrayasa, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Om, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Dinapa, Tika Jito, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Mantrayasa, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Bhagavan, Sarva Tathagata, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva,
Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Dinapa, Tika Jito, Sudokaya,
Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Mantrayasa, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Om, Ha, Ha, Sarva Tathagata, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Dinapa, Tika Jito, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Mantrayasa, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Om, Ha, Om Bhagavan, Sarva Tathagata, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Mahasamaya, Sattva, Om Vajragini, Vajrasattva, Samaya, Manapalaya, Vajrasattva, Dinapa, Tika Jito, Mebhava, Sudokaya, Mebhava, Sukokaya, Mebhava, Anurata, Mebhava, Sarva Siddhi, Mantrayasa, Sarva Karma, Sutsame, Sistam Shriyam, Guru, Sarva Tathagata, Vajramami, Munsa, Vajrabhala, Vajrasamaya, Sattva. This prayer translates into English. It says, Vajrasattva says, I'm pleased by your recitation and your practice. O son and daughter of Buddha's family, all your harmful deeds, obscurations, and transgressions from past lives to this moment are melted into light, which becomes nectar and benefits limitless sentient beings. Then you think, Dorji Simcha breathes on me. Vajrasattva breathes on me, dissolves into light, which then becomes the body, speech, and mind, and Samaya, Vajrasattva and Vajrayogini. At this moment, you say the mantra Om Vajrasattva Hum or Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum by visualizing those two deities now in your heart chakra. And this short mantra takes the place of that mantra. And as this mantra is recited, you project this to your mother, father, and limitless sentient being throughout space. And you say this short mantra as many times as you said the long mantra. In this practice session. So Vajrasattva dissolves into the mantra in your heart. As you say this mantra, Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Mam Hum, 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 Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum, Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum, Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum, Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum, Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum, Om Vajrayogini Vajrasattva Vam Hum. Pay. End with pay, which means to cut all judgment. Then Vajrasattva now dissolves into that short mantra. And if you're doing Vajrayogini, she dissolves into her mantra. These two mantras together dissolve with the bomb into the seed-soluble Hum. Then the Hum dissolves into a tiny dot of light in the center of your heart chakra. This tiny dot, similar to an atom, fades into voidness, and you relax in the accomplishment state of practice called Mahamudra, or mind of bliss. Stay in this state for at least 10 minutes, 5 is okay, at the end of your practice session. Make no judgment and no meditation during this accomplishment stage of the practice. Do not become dull, bored, or sleepy, or have anxiety, fear, or any judgment about any thoughts or body sensations. Watch your mind with no distraction. Remain alert and aware. This phase of meditation practice is also called Vatam, Vipassana, Mahamudra, wisdom, void nature mind, the great perfection, Dzogchen, and so forth, many names. At the close of the meditation session, dedicate the merit with all beings that ultimately are not separate from you by saying the following prayer. Once I become Dorje Sepa, Dorje Vajrayogini, in union, may every single sentient being in the 6 realms of rebirth be placed in this state of purity and wisdom. And by the virtue of this wisdom and purity of this practice, may they all be born in the mind of bliss. They watch in. So I'm blending a tantric practice with the sutra explanation is given by the lamas, specifically Lama Rinchen. There's more to it than this in the creation phase, an explanation about the garments and other ornaments and the Buddha fields around them. And
Do we dissolve it now?
oh yeah, now we can dissolve into light through the Hum into a point of light. Everything disappears into the heart chakra, into voidness. No meditation. all forms, all bodies into light. All speech, mantra into voidness. Follow the sound into voidness of the mind. In this state, it ceases to exist. That's called bliss. When you finish this accomplishment stage of practice, the accumulation of the merit of this practice is 111,111 recitations of the long mantra with the visualization that goes with it, and then 111,111 of the short mantra with that visualization. At the end of the practice in the text, it says, when Vajrasattva dissolves into you, into light, and you are absorbed, you become Vajrasattva. And if it's with Vajrayogini, you become both. Then they dissolve into light, which melts into you. Now Dorje Sempa's body, speech, and mind are not separate from your own body, speech, and mind. At this point, you can recite the mantra one more time or just disappear into space. You as Vajrasattva and Vajrayogini in this situation have no grasping or attachment or aversion to any thoughts that arise in the accomplishment stage. Just let them come and let them go. They arise, come from space, their nature is space, and they disappear back into space. Same with your bodily sensation. You stay alert, don't become dull or bored or sleepy or have anxiety or fear that what you are doing is somehow illogical or damaging. Just let them come and let them go, the thoughts. No judgment. The phases of meditation in the second stage is called latam. In this state, you become the wisdom nature of your own mind, which is the void nature or illusory nature of everything, called Mahamudra, or the great perfection, and so forth. At the close of meditation sessions, always share the merit with all beings who are ultimately not separate from you by saying this following prayer. Once I become Dorje Sempa Vajrasattva, may every single sentient being in the 6 realms of rebirth be placed in the state of purity and wisdom by the virtue and wisdom of this practice. The translation, there are many. I'm reading one of them now, of the long mantra. Om Vam. Vajrasattva, Vajrayogini are the nature of the 5 transcendent wisdom and the 5 elements of all 5 Buddha families. Vajrasattva Samaya means that you are brave and keep to your commitment. The following mantras after that say, you as a Lama stay near me and cause me to become greatly content with this undefiled state of happiness or bliss. Greatly increase in me the natural transcendental wisdom of the non-dual bliss void. Out of great compassion for and love for sentient beings, you also be loving towards me. Bestow transcendent wisdom of the 4 joys, the 4 states of bliss, and make me content with the radiance of this bliss.
What are the 4 states of bliss?
Physical joy, mental joy, emotional joy, and what they call bliss, voidness. The voidness one is lasting, state of lasting happiness. That's called bliss. Bliss means no judgment. about anything that arises. Joy is a state opposite to sadness. There's still a duality there. And the other two are connected with the body. Physical joy and mental joy. The way it describes it here is the first joy is called Ananda. It's usually in the head and it's an outer state of joy. The second state of joy is called Mandala, and it usually exists through energy in the throat. The third sort of joy is called Viramanda, the heart or secret joy, usually caused by transcendental meditation practices of Sutra and Tantra. Then joy, innate Saha Joyananda is the bliss joy of equanimity. This is a spiritual state of wisdom, of voidness, and it is called the Svabha Vikakaya. The first joy is part of the Nirmanakaya. The mental joy of imagination and focus is the Sambhogakaya. The emotional joy is the accomplishment of what we call transforming the emotions into other states. That's called Dharmakaya. And then the ultimate story of bliss, wisdom, or voidness is all three of these together called the Svabha Vikakaya. When these four are in place, then one can relax and let the Dakinis and Dharmapalas activate all Buddha activity. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Vanapalaya Vajrasattva Dina Vanatita Jita Meva Sutta Kaya Meva Sutta Kaya Meva Anarata Meva Sarva Siddhi Mukshaya Sarva Karma Sutta Meva Sutta Shriya Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Vajrasattva Samaya Samaya. And the dedication and Takshi prayers go like this. I dedicate the merit of this and all my Dharma practice to the benefit of all sentient beings, my mothers. Whatever power, insight, wisdom, and ultimate compassion I gain through the practices, may I use it for the benefit of others. Any feelings of smugness or superiority that may arise, may they melt away and evaporate like water in the hot sun. May all beings be happy, may all beings be free, may all beings realize their fullest potential, and remove the mind's veils through these practices. May all war, famine, disease, poverty, environmental destruction, and the spread of toxins be removed from Mother Earth. May the truth and all that is auspicious increase. For as long as space endures and for as long as living beings remain, may I too abide to dispel the misery of this world. By this virtue, having realized Mahamudra, may I establish all beings without exception in this state by the virtue of my practice. By the blessing of the Buddha who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the unchanging truth of the Dharma, and by the blessing and unwavering aspirations of the Sangha, may this dedication prayer be fulfilled. Devadi Nirudama, Jagya Champa Rugirne, Jola Champion Maldupa, Zala Goparsha, Sanjay Kusum Nimpajim Lada, Shoni Maker Nimpajim Lada, Yendu Mishi Nimpajim Laki, Chita Goma Moma Druparsha. Uchiche, thank you, Mahalo, Guri Grassi, and Tashi Delay for a lovely evening together.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Lama, Tashi, and beautiful Abby.
You're welcome.
May this practice spread everywhere.
Oh, it was excellent. It really helped. I very much thank you.
May all viruses be transformed into occasions for spiritual practice. Aloha.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.